Mike Pachelli here. Thanks for tuning into this lesson. I'll be talking about the Beatles' No Reply, as recorded on September 30th, 1964. It was on their fourth British release, Beatles for Sale. John Lennon wrote the song. He wrote it in May of 1964 when he was on vacation in Tahiti, a month-long vacation with his wife Cynthia and George Harrison and Pattie Boyd, George's girlfriend at the time, were there. He wrote the song, but he didn't have a middle eight. But it's actually, ends up with 16 bars, so maybe it's a middle 16. But nevertheless, I'll get to that in a minute. It was inspired by by Silhouette on the Shade, which is written by the Rays, and I think it was a hit in 1957. That song's about, a guy walking down the street and seeing his girlfriend's silhouette on the shade, the window shade, but she wouldn't answer the phone. But it's kind of not apropos because John Lennon never used a telephone to call a girl in his life. Teenagers just didn't use phones back then. But anyhow, that was the inspiration. Later on, Paul and John finished the song. Paul pretty much wrote the middle section, which again, they call a middle eight, but this one's 16 bars. And also, Paul helped with the third verse. Now, John never liked the song when he got it done. He wanted to give it to Tommy Quickly, which was another artist of manager Brian Epstein. And John did a demo of the song for Tommy Quickly. And at the end of the demo, John records a toilet flushing because he thought that's where the song belonged. Tommy Quickly never recorded it, and it's a good thing because it's just a great, great Beatle track. They recorded all the instruments live with George Martin on the piano, and George Martin does a nice job on this one, playing like on the hits. He plays whole note chords, and he also plays a triplet figure in the middle that I'll talk about later. But they did it live, and there's a cool chord at the end that George Martin ends. George plays on the piano. He plays a C6-9, where the Beatles just all played just normal C chords, and I'll show you that too later. They did 8 takes. Take number 8 was the best, and then John and Paul overdubbed their vocals on take 8. John was really hoarse that night because it was a pretty long session, and it's kind of great, the hoarseness that he has, because the song has some it's kind of tender, and then John screams, so it's a combination of tender and rawness, which is really great. It was the first time Ringo played or recorded actually with the Beatles like a bossa nova beat. They had done Besame Mucho and other songs similar to that beat on their live, but this was the first recording they ever did like that. But truth be told, I feel it's an absolutely horrible mix because the guitars are smashed down on one track, and on the mono mix, I mean, it was really challenging to dig in and listen. I had to listen to it quite a lot to decipher the difference between John's guitar and George's guitar, but I got it. And they even left a crash. That Ringo did a mistake before the last ending hits. They left that in the mix. And it was mixed by George Martin and Norman Smith, who, again, I just think, bad mix. Other fun facts to know and tell is the Beatles never played No Reply live. They were really pushing, I think it was I Feel Fine at the time, and it was recorded around the same time as No Reply. So that was the one they always did live, but never did No Reply live. And the first time in America we would have heard it was on Capitol released it, I think it was December 14th, 1964, and they called the album Beatles 65, which No Reply was the first song on that album. So I think that's the backstory, and let's get started. John Lennon is playing his Gibson J160E on No Reply, a lot like this replica. And he's pretty much keeping to a simple eighth note pattern. Down and up strokes, and he's accenting on beat 2 and 4. Fun facts to know and tell, John, back in those days, was using a Roto Sound pick, which has an extra round edge. And he used, not the point, he used the round part of the pick quite a lot. If you look at any videos of them live and stop frame close-ups, you can see he's using the rounded part of the pick. I'm using this kind of triangular round thing to get a smooth eighth note rotation. And on this song, John isn't playing too hard, but he is accenting on 2 and 4. And it's simple chords. It starts off on an F6, where John voices it like this. And when John played these kind of chords, he'd reach around with his thumb and mute the fifth and the sixth string, but just basically strum just the first four strings, top four strings, I should say. So you need an F6, and then you move that up to a G6. Looks like that. Then John plays a straight position C. All right. Repeats F6 to G6, and then again a C. Then there's some kicks. The first kick is on A minor, an A minor voice like this. The second kick is on E minor. Then the third one is F major seventh, like this. Back to E minor. Then at this spot in the first verse, they play a D minor, only the very first verse, voice like this. You could actually play it, if you want it, like an F6, because an F6 could be a D minor, especially because Paul's playing D in the bass right here. But I like to voice it on the first verse, I think it's measure like 13 or 12. D minor, so you can really hear the D minor sound. Back up to a G6, and back up to a C. So those are the chords of the verse. And again, John's doing he's playing pretty light. You know, he'll accent and play a little harder on the accents, but on the chords, on the verse, he's playing the chords very lightly, but accent again on 2 and 4, like this. You go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, right? And then going through the changes. F6 to the first position, C. F6 again. Now the first A minor comes on the end of 4 of that measure, which is what, measure 8. So it's an A minor, and you can hear pretty evidently that John is strumming, and when he hits his kicks, he's playing on the upbeat. So he plays his A minor because you hear the top strings first, like, right, and then to the E minor, to the F major seventh, and to the E minor. Let me get into it so I show you exactly what John played from that last C. He goes. Holds that E minor before he goes back into the end, the D minor. And that's the whole first verse. So let me play the whole first verse for you so you have a little better continuity. This happened once before. Just so simple and just perfect acoustic guitar part. Now on the bridge, he plays 2 quarter notes and 4 eighth notes, pretty much every measure. So the bridge starts on, first you need a C, to a first position E, first position A, then that D minor again. Then you can hear John playing a full F. Back to C, and that repeats. C, E, A, D minor, F, and then C. And again, he plays quarter note, 4 eighth notes, like this. So, da da da. See what I'm doing? Slower. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2. So through the changes. If I were back to the verse. And then straight F6. C. And that's all, everything he plays. And just at the very end with the kicks again. No, it. And he plays a straight C at the end, John, just on acoustic. Even though the chord you hear more predominantly is like, and I'll talk about that with George. But those are all the parts you need to play No Reply like John Lennon. George Harrison is playing his Gretsch Country Gentleman on No Reply, plugged into a Vox AC30. I'm using this Gretsch Country Classic and also plugged into a 1964 Vox AC30. Kind of unusual for a Beatles song of this period that John and George are playing pretty much the same voicings on this song. George uses this F6 to the G6. His third chord is a C6, voice like this. Back to the F6, G6, straight C, just like John. Same voicings on the kicks, A minor to E minor to F major 7th to E minor. And then the very first time when they play that D minor, John plays it here, George plays it up here. Do a G6 to a straight C. Now, what's cool about George is the rhythm is kind of almost like a reggae rhythm. He plays on 1, 2, and 4 and, right? So he doesn't play the first beat. So it's this happened once, 1, right? To the G6, and then this figure on the C. 1, and then straight strumming on the C, accenting on 2 and 4. Same voicings on the kicks, A minor, E minor, F major 7th, E minor. Only difference is where John holds out those E minors, you could hear George kind of strumming through it. Then when he gets to this D minor that they play only on the first verse, John plays his up here, George plays it inside up here. And he plays a different rhythm. George's rhythm here is to the G6. And then he plays through the C, something like that. So let me do a verse and you'll hear it better. So you're not too fast. This happened once before. Charts and tabs available at MikePachelli.com to get it exact. But isn't that like on measure, what is it, like 13 when he goes, It's very George. I really like that. Now on the bridge, the middle 8 or the middle 16, whatever you want to call it, George variates his rhythm. He plays this. He plays 1, 2, 3, and. And that's pretty much, except when he gets to the C on measures, whatever that is, 24 perhaps. But he plays like this. He goes, and it's always on beat 4 where he's kind of holding it because he's playing 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and. He kind of lifts up a little bit on the chords to. He's not really holding. He's kind of muting a little bit by just pressing down the chords, lifting up a little bit. So if I do it really slow, it would be like. Right? Lift up, play the last 8th note to the E. Lift up, last 8th note to the A. Get it? Then on the C, it's like 2. And again, it repeats the same thing. So if I play it in time, let's see, not too fast. If I were... Very almost March-like, but it's very George. You know, you can't just feel George doing that. You know. And again, you can strum right through it. Just kind of mute that the beat 4 on those. A little bit of a mute, and then the and of 4. Change chords. A little bit of a mute, and of 4. Right. And again, you can continue this strum as long as you're muting. Very cool George Harrison part. Should be noted that during the you know, the bridge, the middle 8, the middle 16, whatever we're calling it, George Martin is playing these staccato things on the piano. You know, same kind of chords. You know. If you gave me... I'll try to do it on the piano when I do the performance at the end. So that's all the parts, except at the very end. You know, George does the same kicks and the same rhythm as he does every other time, and then he ends on a straight C. So, you know, George plays a straight C. But you hear that George Martin chord. George Martin is playing actually a C6-9 on the piano. So if you want to simulate that on guitar, either play like just a C add 9 like this, which I like. I think that sounds really cool for the last chord. So that would be C, E, G, D. If you want to get the exact C6-9, you play C, E, A, D, which George Martin is voicing on the piano. You know, I think this one sounds better to my ear for guitar. So. Try it with the 6-9, so it would be. Sounds a little too mellow on the guitar. Anyhow, okay, now for fun, I'll try to put it all together and you know, give it my best shot at a performance part of No Reply. Let's take a look.
This happened once before, but I came to your door. No reply. They said it wasn't you, but I saw you be through your window. I saw the light. I saw the light. I know that you saw me, 'cause I looked up to see your face. I tried the telephone, you said you were at home. That's a lie, 'cause I know where you've been. I saw you walking your door. I nearly died. I nearly died, 'cause you walked hand in hand with another man in my place. If I were you, I'd realize
And that's how to play No Reply by the Beatles. I certainly hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to drop me a line, do so at mikepachelli.com, and please subscribe to this channel. And like I always say, when you play these classic Beatles songs, have fun doing it, because that's what playing the guitar should be all about. I'm Mike Pachelli. Thanks for hanging out with me.